Welcome back to the Essentially You podcast, all about reinventing your health with safer, cheaper, more effective natural solutions and powerful lifestyle changes so that you become the CEO of your health. I am your host, Dr. Mariza Snyder. Today, we are taking a deep dive on how to heal brain fog. Now, has this been something that you have dealt with in the past or maybe even today? If so, this episode was created for you. Not only am I going to be sharing my favorite recommendations, but I also have the perfect essential oil cheat sheet for you to get your hands on for cravings, stress, and most importantly, brain fog. Now, I personally use every blend from this cheat sheet, and I thought that you would absolutely love it too. And you can grab it on my website at drmariza.com/episode 72. It'll also be in the show notes, and you can pause this right now if you want to go and grab this, because I have a feeling that you're going to want to make that brain fog be gone recipe pretty quickly. Goodness knows, I just applied it so that I was running sharp and handling business for this episode today. Now, speaking of episode 72, did you know that this podcast is coming up on its 1-year anniversary? What an incredible year of amazing interviews and highlights. The Essentially You podcast not only is hitting its first year, but also hit 250,000 downloads last week, and we are celebrating big time. 250,000 is a major milestone, and what it simply means to me is that I am continuing to open the door for healing miracles for you to experience each and every week. Thank you so much for trusting me with your health and, most importantly, with your time. Now, just today, I was in Instagram, as I tend to be every day. And if you haven't come on over to Instagram, definitely come check me out and say hi. My Instagram handle is at Dr. Mariza, which is DrMariza. And I was checking my direct messages, and I found the most beautiful win/testimonial that I just had to include today, knowing that I was going to be recording today. So here is the testimonial. I don't exactly know the name because, profiles on Instagram can be very cryptic. So I just wanted to share this win with you guys and just let you know that this is the number one reason why I put this podcast on every single week. I wanted to thank you so much for making such a big impact on my life through your podcast and your books. I came across your podcast in December, probably listened to every episode by now. I've used the suggestions you've provided in your episodes, went off my birth control, which was life-changing, by the way, and used essential oils to help me get back on track with my healthy hormone journey. I've been dismissed by doctors since 14 years old. I am 26 now, and their only solutions were birth control, weight loss medication, which resulted in even more issues, or that I was not experiencing what I said despite the family history of thyroid issues. I know I have a long way to go with stress management since I work 2 jobs and travel to a different state every other week for my master's degree. I follow several of the guests you've had on your show because your information along with theirs has been vital to my journey. Thank you. It's big wins such as this that make creating this podcast every week so 100% worth it. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this big healing journey that you're on. And I can't wait to continue to bring not only more incredible guests, but hopefully topics that really dial into your needs. And if there are topics or there are subjects that you want to have covered on this podcast, just please feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out to me on my email, which is Mariza. That is Mariza at drmariza.com, or even on Instagram or Facebook. I love connecting with you personally. I've had the opportunity to connect with so many of my readers and podcast listeners over the last 3 weeks when being on the book tour, and to listen to your stories and to understand what you're going through or what you've gone through and where you're hoping to go with your health has just been the most profound experience of my life. So thank you so much. Continue to connect in with me, because the more and more I can get to know you, the more and more I can really dial in and give you exactly what you're needing. Now, what I wanted to talk about today, as I mentioned, is brain fog. And of all the health problems I talk to my readers about, this one is dramatically overlooked and not taken very seriously. Now, I hear it almost on an hourly basis about how people are left to fend for themselves with debilitating brain fog, and it oftentimes is partnered with chronic fatigue. I remember when I was struggling with chronic fatigue, brain fog was very much a part of the equation. Everything just felt fuzzy. I just remember trying to grasp through words. I remember not remembering. I remember not remembering where I put things, but most importantly, I found myself not being able to finish my sentences. So what I wanted to do today is talk a little bit about what brain fog is and then get into the solutions. So brain fog is a term commonly used by patients when they're trying to describe a lack of mental clarity, mild confusion, loss of focus and attention, poor concentration, and even a generalized sense of not feeling their best. But what is brain fog and how do we define it? Well, if you have brain fog, you may not be able to think of words as adaptly, or you might find yourself functioning in a haze. It may take you longer to perform daily activities, and you might even feel extremely tired and drained at the end of the day. First, it's important to note that brain fog is not the same as a mild cognitive impairment or early dementia. Rest assured, there are no studies to suggest that a feeling of brain fog leads to a degenerative cognitive disease. Instead, there are other reasons you may feel like you are not thinking as clearly as you used to, or that you're having a difficult time recalling recent conversations and remembering words in the middle of a sentence. Many of my readers think that brain fog is just a part of the aging process, or that for women, it must be hormonal. But in reality, we can thank our modern day life for much of what we're experiencing. Today's world, we are exposed to so many toxins, contaminants, microbes, and chemicals each and every day. And while regulations say a minute exposure to a particular toxin is not detrimental to our human health, we know that we are specifically connecting to a multitude of exposures every year, which can almost definitely have an adverse influence on your natural physiological processes. And not just your brain, right? Your hormones, your liver, your digestive system, your microbiome. We're talking about all the processes. But most importantly, today we're talking about how that has an effect on the brain. Now, usually, this stems from an inflammatory response from these exposures. Our immune system can withstand and tolerate quite a few exogenous assaults, but sometimes we are simply not strong enough to withstand the overstimulation of our immune system, which leads to chronic inflammation of critical organs, including our brain. In short, this response can be hugely beneficial for our health, that being inflammation. However, when the body is not able to naturally control the inflammatory process, or if the initial trigger remains present so that it becomes an ongoing source of inflammation, the response can be detrimental, as it poses an extra burden on the mitochondria inside of your cells, and it makes them have to work harder, or worse yet, impedes their ability to work at all, which we can call mitochondrial dysfunction. Now, I want to break down a little bit about what mitochondria are doing and how they play a big role in this whole piece of the puzzle when it comes to brain fog. So energy for cellular function comes from our mitochondria. And remember that most cells in the body have about 1,000 to 3,000 mitochondria, except for the brain and our ovaries. The brain has on average about 10,000 mitochondria. And the brain happens to be a very, if not the most metabolically active organ inside of the body. So it depends greatly on the functionality of these tiny little organelles inside of our cells. A chronic inflammatory response can not only cause inflammation in our organs, including most commonly the gut and the brain, but eventually these inflammatory mediators make their way into our central nervous system. And neuroinflammation, which is basically the inflammation of the brain, can then ensue. So you can see that it isn't necessarily just hormones. What we're specifically talking about is the modern world assaults that we're dealing with, all of the inflammation that can be brought on by toxins, by microbes, and most specifically by inflammation due to the response that our body is having. So what can we do to actually mediate and heal brain fog? Well, luckily, brain fog symptoms can be managed with proper care and attention. Now, if you're experiencing brain fog or are concerned that you may, here are some important recommendations that I have found to really move the needle, not only in brain fog, but also in overall hormone balance, for decreasing inflammation in the body. Because again, if inflammation is happening inside of the brain, we know it's most likely happening somewhere else, and we've got to get it in control everywhere inside of the body. So I want to also preface this that I'm about to drop several ways to heal brain fog. Now, I do not intend for you to adopt all of these practices at once or expect for you to do all of them at all. Simply start with what really resonates with you. So let's get into my recommendations. The first thing I wanted to just preface is these first couple of recommendations are going to be all about mitochondrial function and fueling the body. So it's going to be more about how we eat and what we're eating. The first thing I want to recommend is practicing a level of intermittent fasting. Now, there are definitely a variety of ways to integrate intermittent fasting into your lifestyle. I normally recommend going about 12 to 14 hours between dinner and breakfast 3 times a week, if not more, and this is to support the mitochondrial function. We know that mitochondria function significantly better with longer breaks between meals. There has been a lot of research on this topic, but I also recommend working with a nutrition coach or a knowledgeable practitioner about implementing intermittent fasting into your daily lifestyle. Now, I personally do intermittent fasting most days of the week, although I do listen to my body to figure out what's best for me. So I would say intermittent fast probably 5 to 6 days out of the week, and usually it's about 14 hours between dinner and breakfast. And I have found this to be really beneficial for my energy levels. But again, everyone's different. This is one of those things that can really help for brain fog. Now, when it comes to fueling the body, it should really be about the type of information that fuels your cells. So your meals should consist of complex carbohydrates in the form of vegetables, as well as a generous amount of healthy fats from sources like avocados, nuts, and seeds. Avoid processed foods, sugars, dairy, gluten, increased consumption of raw foods. And what we've seen is that studies suggest that almost 70% of illness comes from our gut. So we really want to make sure that we're looking for ways to reduce gut inflammation and to reset our gut and liver. Now, if you're looking for a program or a system or even a reset, I do want to recommend my hormone rescue program that is in the new book, The Essential Oils Hormone Solution. And you can always find that in part 3 of the book. We've had thousands of women doing that little program already, not only seeing a reduction in inflammation, but also helping with brain fog, helping to support the gut microbiome, and also helping to rebalance hormones, which was, again, the reason why I wrote the book. So definitely worth checking out if you're looking for actual recipes, meal plans, everything. It's all in the book. It's a great place to start. All right. Let's go on. I want to talk a little bit about the reason for intermittent fasting, or just a little bit about mitochondrial function. One of the key recommendations that I give a lot of my readers is not to graze. And the reason for that is it slows down our mitochondrial function and creates less energy for the brain. So if you've ever felt sluggish after a meal, that's usually because we are slowing down those mitochondria inside of your cells, or it may have been a food that is eliciting inflammation in the gut or causing food allergies. So it's always really important to pay attention. But we do know that the mitochondria love breaks in between meals of at least 6 hours. That's a really big piece to consider when you're planning your meals throughout the day. The next thing I want to just mention, one of my favorite things to do to really help and ensure that your brain is functioning at peak capacity, is having an evening ritual that gets you enough sleep at night. So go to bed around the same time each and every night and wake up around the same time every morning. It's important to set and establish circadian rhythms that are really going to help to get you that restorative sleep that you need. Now, if you struggle with sleep, you know that essential oils can be a really great tool to help you shut off the brain and go to bed at night. Now, my go-to oils for this are going to be lavender, vetiver, cedarwood, and Roman chamomile, just to name a couple, although I do have a more extensive list. And all you got to do, what I recommend, is having a diffuser by your bedside or one in the bedroom and diffusing these oils every night so that you get into the habit of setting the tone for that circadian rhythm at night and that you're getting enough restful sleep. Now, throughout the day, what I want you to be focusing on is managing your stress. One of the best ways to manage stress is through daily movement. However, you can also leverage the power of essential oils like lavender, bergamot, and petitgrain. I also love meditation, Yoga and Tai Chi have been proven to reduce vagal tone, which contributes to the stress response and ultimately leads to brain fog. Meditation improves cognition and memory as it has a positive effect on the size of the temporal lobes. If you want to check out my podcast episode number 20 with Emily Fletcher, you can learn more about my favorite meditation technique called the Ziva meditation technique. So this is going to be important. As you can imagine, when we are feeling very stressed, it's as if our hormones, especially our stress hormones, they just hijack our prefrontal cortex for survival. So no wonder we feel like we are losing our words. We can't figure out what we were just saying when we're in that chronic stress state, in that sympathetic nervous system state. So if you find yourself there throughout the day or throughout the week, it's going to be important to have tools so that you can kind of reset the system and get back on track with lowering that stress response. Next thing I want you to consider is to minimize use of medications when you can. Now, you're going to need to speak to your physician for guidance here. There are some natural ways at combating high blood sugar, elevated glucose levels, obesity, and autoimmunity, but you will definitely have to start early before it's too late. Now, we know that medications can have a profound impact on brain fog, so it's just one thing to consider. If you can move into a more natural way of regulating some of these issues, then I highly, highly recommend it. Other things, real quick, are going to be minimizing alcohol use. Eat organic foods whenever possible. Use green cleaning agents and natural beauty and hygiene products. If you're looking for how to make over the green cleaning cabinet, check out my Smart Mom's Guide to Essential Oils book or episode 19 for how to make over your green cleaning cabinet. The easiest thing you can do, I mean, gosh, we have so much power when it comes to reducing our toxic load, but one of the first things that you can do is to make over your green cleaning cabinet so that you are not using toxic chemicals every single day to clean the house. Another one that I really love that really, really supports your mitochondrial function and helps to eradicate that brain fog is going outside in nature at least 4 to 5 times per week. Studies show exposure to nature helps to combat exposure to environmental toxins, alleviates anxiety and stress, and reduces inflammation. So I know that we're heading into spring. I know it doesn't always feel that way at the beginning of March, but we are heading into spring, and it is definitely a good time to get outside and recharge. You know, we went for the most beautiful hike today by the ocean here in San Diego, and it was so nice because I had been traveling for 3 weeks and I had not seen the ocean in so long, and it felt so good to be out in nature again. I always feel rejuvenated. I always feel reset when I'm out there in nature. Next is going to be correcting that microbiome. Now, I know I've been mentioning it a little bit here in this episode, and we have so many great episodes on the microbiome. Just to note that healing the microbiome and healing the gut takes a little bit of time and dedication, but focus on eating healthy, organic, whole foods. And we're talking about an array of vegetables, fruits, along with plenty of fiber. Intermittent fasting, because it allows for natural elimination. Just talked a little bit about that. Improving your sleep and minimizing and eliminating the use of medications, especially those of the antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory classes. Remember that antibiotics and probiotics alone do not correct your gut bacterial population. It's a powerful integrative approach that we've got to take. Now, again, if you are looking for a way to integrate that, Part 3 of my book is going to really give you that jump start that you I wouldn't say so desperately need, but I know that I have so desperately needed. It's definitely setting you on the path in the right direction. And the last but not least, when it came to just giving you some recommendations before we get into the supplementation and to the essential oils, is practicing deep breathing exercises to enhance oxygenation and blood flow. My favorite is the 4-7-8 technique. Place the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth and breathe through your nose for 4 counts. Hold your breath for 7 counts and breathe through your mouth for 8 counts. This allows you to enhance that oxygenation and enhance blood flow to the body. Another way to do this as well is by simply breathing in peppermint oil. Peppermint helps to not only oxygenate the lungs, but also to oxygenate the brain through increased blood flow to the brain. So that's another thing to be thinking about. So let's get into supplementation and appropriate herbs, vitamins, and elements for mitochondrial and immune system support. Now, as for supplements, I want to share a couple that I have found to be very helpful, but let me start by saying before you resort to brain boosting supplements, I would love for you to focus on your overall health. So the things that I mentioned before just a second ago, I want those to be staples. One of the biggest things that I've learned over the last 10 years is that 80% of what we do every single day dictates the life that we live later. Even dictates the life that you live 2 weeks, a month, a year from now. So a lot of the things that I mentioned, are things that I have mentioned in many other episodes. As you can see, so much of our lifestyle has a profound impact on our brain health and being able to eliminate that brain fog. All right, let's get into these brain boosting supplements. Now, if you're deficient in any vitamins or your nutrition is lacking, as you can imagine, your brain will be affected. It is well known that deficiencies in nutrients exist in the United States, including a lack of vitamin B12, vitamin D, magnesium, and these are all very essential nutrients for brain health. As you can imagine, I take activated B vitamins, I take 5,000 units of vitamin D3, and I take magnesium glycinate every single day, not only for brain health, but also for hormone health as well. Now, in addition, if you are not balancing your sleep and exercise routines or managing stress, you're going to find that you're decreasing your brain power as well as your body succumbing to fatigue and other elements of exhaustion and overwhelm. Just a little bit, I just want you to know that if we don't change the way that you're living your lifestyle, it doesn't matter how many supplements we put into the regimen, you're just not going to feel 100%. So it's going to be a combination of the two. Here are the supplements that I would recommend for anyone since they have been well researched and proven effective over time when it comes to brain health. Number one is omega-3 fatty acids. That's DHA and EPA. Most people that I have met are usually deficient in omega-3 fatty acids. So I recommend supplementing these for proper brain function. Now, DHA has proven to increase brain function and strengthen its function, while EPA decreases inflammation and allows for increased blood flow. It is an absolute essential for pregnant women to supplement with DHA and EPA if they're not getting enough omegas into their diet already. The second supplement that I love is rhodiola because I take it every day and I just love the benefits. Now, why it has been traditionally been used to prevent altitude sickness, help cope with cold climates, rhodiola is an adaptogenic herb and it's finding new uses as a mood enhancer and as an anti-fatigue agent. Rhodiola helps to increase serotonin levels, which can improve your overall mood and may improve reasoning skills as well. It can enhance energy metabolism and increase the capacity for mitochondria to produce energy-rich compounds in the brain, as well as in the muscles, liver, and blood. Rhodiola has been found to protect humans against physical and mental stress, fatigue, heat, cold, toxins, and radiation. It's one of those adaptogenic herbs that have so many wonderful benefits, especially for women's hormone health. I take about 500 milligrams of rhodiola every single day. Number 3 is going to be activated B vitamins, including B12. It's so important to take care of the methylation in our bodies, and this is our body's biochemical superhighway because it plays a major role in the detox pathways and brain function. Methylation is mainly supported by activated B vitamins, so you're going to definitely want B9, B6, and most importantly, you're going to want to get your hands on vitamin B12. We know that almost 40% of Americans are deficient in vitamin B12, which can result in difficulties with fatigue, memory, mental fogginess, and even depressed mood. Vitamin B12 helps with normal functioning of the nervous system, including the brain, and people with higher levels of vitamin B12 have seen less brain shrinkage as they get older. Now, the next vitamin that I love is vitamin D. Now, other than thyroid hormones, vitamin D is the only other hormone every cell of your body needs to thrive. Low levels of vitamin D have been linked to everything such as increased depression and suicide rates, decreased memory, and cases of Alzheimer's and cancer. Vitamin D also supports the creation of new neural connections. The most recent data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey shows that vitamin D levels of most adults is deficient. So it's going to be important, especially living in northern altitude with dark winters, that we need about 5,000 units of daily vitamin D to get that optimal level of 40 to 70 nanograms per milliliter. If you want to preserve your brain health, then you will need to start optimizing your vitamin D levels, usually through a combination of diet, sun exposure, and supplementation. Now, given our environment, especially in the winter, supplementation is probably the easiest and simplest way to get vitamin D into your diet every single day. Next one is going to be phosphatidylserine. Now, phosphatidylserine is a supplement that I've mentioned before, but I want to talk a little bit about it today. It serves as both an amino acid and fatty acid, which aids in cellular functioning, especially the brain. It can help treat depression, helps to at least help with short-term cognitive functioning in patients with Alzheimer's, reduces ADHD symptoms, and improves memory functioning. Phosphatidylserine improves cognitive function before a bout of exercise, and this is great for regular gym goers to add a little bit of extra mind and body boosting. So that's one of the reasons why I love it. Also, phosphatidylserine is critical in the maintenance of all cellular function, especially the brain. Now, another one that I love, these next ones are going to be a little bit, I wouldn't say non-traditional, but I think that they can be also very helpful. Matcha is the next one on the list. Now, matcha, as you guys know, I've written a book on matcha called The Matcha Miracle. And what I love about matcha is that it's more potent than simply drinking green tea. It delivers 100% of the nutrients and benefits to the body because you're consuming the whole leaf. It's power-packed, antioxidant rich. It manages and gets rid of free radicals. It is also 10 times more oxidant filled than any other green tea, and it helps the body with L-theanine, which is an amino acid that helps boost mental clarity in literally a single cup of matcha. It also contains EGCGs, which we call catechins, and these are polyphenols that work synergistically with L-theanine to support and increase brain health. In addition, matcha also contains caffeine that works synergistically with L-theanine, which helps over many, many hours kind of boost brain power and more so alertness, especially when you need it most. As I mentioned, it does have a lot of antioxidants. It also has a lot of chlorophyll, and it's great as a powerful nutritional booster. So matcha is a big one. I love doing matcha green tea every single day. It's one of my favorite things to do because there's so many great benefits to it. So if you're looking for that little pick-me-up, matcha is going to be great. Then the last one that I want to mention before we get into essential oils is going to be curcumin. Now, this is found in turmeric. It's a popular Indian spice. Curcumin provides the body with a variety of benefits and has been used in both traditional medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, and Ayurvedic medicine. Due to its ability to increase blood flow to the brain and body, it is found specifically popular in the exercise community. Unlike many supplements that require prolonged use to see results, curcumin has been successful in boosting memory and retention in Alzheimer's patients in as little as an hour's time. In addition to improving their mood and stress levels, it is also particularly anti-inflammatory, allowing the blood to flow more freely to the brain, and it has a positive effect on brain stem cells. Curcumin is also found popularly in a variety of other health fields, including helping to support cancer, diabetes, and HIV. As a simple spice, it can be worked into your foods, but if you really want a true response, you're going to want to link it with some type of fat to ensure that it emulsifies, and you want to make sure that you're using a high-quality organic curcumin free of any additives or fillers. So be sure to do your research when you are buying it. Now, for me, I do love turmeric essential oil because it has a high amount of curcumin, alpha tumerones, and beta tumerones, and it's already lipophilic, which makes it very bioavailable in the body. So I take turmeric oil every single day for not only brain function, but helping with phase 1 and phase 2 liver detoxification, and also helping to reduce inflammation. So that's just another option for you if you are not liking the supplement form of turmeric and curcumin. Now let's get into some essential oils. For mental clarity, I highly suggest using essential oils for immediate results. I mean, you guys know how immediate oils are. So simply inhaling or diffusing these oils can enhance your focus and concentration, as well as get rid of that brain fog and mental chatter. Applying them topically Or, again, simply diffusing them is going to be one of the best ways to do it. Now, obviously, rosemary is my best go-to for improving memory and concentration, but I also found that oils like frankincense, peppermint, citrus oils are also great for improving mental clarity. So let's break it down what these oils can do and how they work. Let's first start with the big brain fog be gone oil, rosemary essential oil. Now, one of the simplest ways to increase memory and concentration is by simply inhaling rosemary essential oil. The terpene levels in this essential oil enter the bloodstream and directly affect your body and your brain, especially because they easily pass through the blood-brain barrier. Now, these immediate results happen because of a very specific chemical constituent called 1,8-cinnalol. Now, 1,8-cinnalol can actually boost working memory by 75%, which is just crazy. Now, 1,8-cinnalol has the ability to inhibit enzymes that break down acetylcholine in the brain, allowing more to remain and aid the brain in its functioning. Rosemary is one of my absolute favorite ways to improve my daily focus, and I love it because I know that it's completely natural. It's so safe to use. Now, remember, you always want to be using high-quality essential oils, because you want to make sure that if you're using these oils, that you are only getting the incredible benefits without any type of adulteration. Note that rosemary also increases blood flow, which can cause, again, more oxygen to head into the brain. The second oil that I love for boosting brain function, I mentioned a little while ago, is peppermint. Now, peppermint is very potent. It has menthol in it, which is a clean aroma and has a cooling effect, probably a popular oil for stimulating the mind, especially if someone cannot focus. Sometimes brain fog is accompanied by unbearable migraines and nausea, but peppermint can alleviate a lot of that. If you are an essential oil aficionado, something to consider is substituting spearmint for peppermint, as they both have similar therapeutic benefits. So it's just something to be thinking about. If you're not loving peppermint, you can definitely try spearmint. And how to use it is by simply adding 4 drops of peppermint or spearmint to a cotton ball or into a diffuser, and then allowing them to diffuse as you are doing whatever you're doing, working out, whatever that may be. Number 4 is going to be clary sage. Clary sage can sometimes fly under the radar thanks to its membership in the large salvia family. It is known to be very similar and very herbaceous to Spanish sage and lavender sage. It's stimulating and cooling, but it's also great for improving memory. And we know that it has been clinically demonstrated to improve memory and attention in Alzheimer's patients. So again, if you want to use it, simply grab a bottle, breathe it in throughout the day, and that'll help your working memory. Number 5 is sweet basil. Now, an incredibly expansive and energizing oil, sweet basil can literally get you more focused and more on task with concentration. Inhaling the fresh, almost spicy aroma is a great pick-you-up, especially for clearing sinuses as well. It's not only effective as a mood changer, but sweet basil, it also expels sluggishness and is known to reduce inflammation. So I love that sweet basil is kind of similar to rosemary, but a little bit more herbaceous, a little bit more clean, and it also has those anti-inflammatory benefits. So again, you can use this, a little bit of sweet basil, a little bit of clary sage, a little bit of peppermint in a diffuser, so that you are literally having it by the office or wherever you need your focus, so that you are firing on all cylinders. Next, number 6 is going to be mandarin. Now, sometimes referred as tangerine or red mandarin, this oil promotes bliss and optimism. Considered safe for all ages, even kids, the sweet citrus scent is calming yet uplifting. It works wonderfully as an antidepressant and soothes the central nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system, so that you can help manage stress, hyperactivity, and provide sharp focus. You know, what's also great about this is you can use an aromatic inhaler, like a personal inhaler. You can breathe it in from the bottle or just take a drop, rub your palms together, and breathing it that way if you wanted to just use it as a single oil. Now, I did dedicate an entire chapter to cognitive function and brain fog in the Essential Oils Hormone Solution. So I wanted to do is share a couple of my favorite brain boosting blends from that chapter, so you can go and make them and try them out when you are struggling with a little bit of brain fog. So the first one is going to be my focus and concentration blend. Now it's a 10 ml roller. I love rollers because they are so easy to carry around and so easy to just literally have at your office desk. This blend is a lifesaver for anyone looking for extra energy, focus, and concentration. And literally just roll this blend over the palms, breathe it in, and you will begin to boost energy and focus in a matter of minutes. So here's the ingredients. So take a 10 ml roller, which you can get anywhere, and it's going to be 10 drops of lavender, 8 drops of grapefruit or tangerine, totally up to you, 3 drops of rosemary, and 3 drops of basil. You're going to add the essential oils to the 10 ml roller and then top it off with fractionated coconut oil, apply to the palms, and take 3 to 5 deep belly breaths for instant brain fog support. Now, my next recipe is actually probably my favorite recipe that I use all the time, and that is my Brain Fog Be Gone blend. Now, this roller blend is a lifesaver for anyone looking for extra energy, looking for eradicating that brain fog, and just getting those words back into your mind, right? So you're able to fetch those words so quickly. This blend is also great for just giving you motivation, and it just smells great. I love this blend because it smells so delicious. So the Brain Fog Be Gone blend is also in a 10 ml roller. It's going to be 8 drops of wild orange, or it can be tangerine as well, 7 drops of bergamot, 5 drops of rosemary, 5 drops of peppermint, and 3 drops of frankincense. You're going to add all of the oils into the roller and top it off with fractionated coconut oil. You can apply this blend on the temples, the back of the neck, behind the ears to instantly banish brain fog. And you can also apply to the palms to take those 3 to 5 deep belly breaths for instant energy. I mean, this is literally my instant energy brain fog support blend all in one. Now, if you're looking for more recipes, because I know you love yourself some recipes, you can definitely grab that cravings cheat sheet, that energy, fatigue, brain fog cravings cheat sheet that I was talking about. All you got to do is head on over to my show notes or on my website at drmariza.com/episode 72, and you can get access to this amazing cheat sheet that I know you're going to love. And if you want even more recipes, well, you know where to find them. You can grab them in the new book, which is the Essential Oils Hormone Solution. I have chapters specifically tailored for energy, for cravings, for libido, for stress, for sleep, for cognitive function, for digestive health. I mean, so much of what we covered today is more extensively covered inside of the book. And yes, as you can see, it's all so interconnected. Now, our next episode is with my dear friend, Maggie Berghoff, and she is such a breath of fresh air. I know that you are going to love her insight on how creating an environment to thrive could be the missing link to feeling your best. Until the next episode with Maggie and I would love to hear from you about this episode. What part resonated with you about brain fog healing? Is there a recommendation that you are excited to implement that you feel just that it's gonna light you up and help you get firing on all those cylinders? Is it the supplements? Is it the oils? Is it the daily recommendations? Definitely let me know. And until the next episode, have a wonderful day.